Exec session?
Second.
Vicky's calling the roll.
Are you calling the roll, Vicki? That's right. Are you ready? Or?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. We have some recognitions tonight of our 2017 committee members. Steve?
We do. Thank you, Mr. Girth. We have 5 members who conclude service in 2017 who provided a number of years of service to the township. And as is commonplace here in the township, we invite those folks to come back. Oftentimes they do not choose to, but we're glad to have a couple of them here tonight. And so I will read the accomplishments of each of the individuals, including those that are not able to join us. And we, again, thank them very much for their years of service. First is Greg Fusero. Greg has been on the Economic Development Committee from 2008 to 2017. He was one of the inaugural members of the committee when it was formed back in the summer of 2008, and he served as the chair from 2013 to 2017. I don't see Greg in the audience, but he might be coming here just a few minutes late, so if he does, we could perhaps recognize him during public forum. Second of which, who is not going to be with us as she no longer lives in the township, but Vivian Keel. Vivian was a Green Space Advisory Committee member from 2007 to 2018. And if anyone knows Vivian and her late husband Fred, I imagine Vivian was involved long before 2007 on that group. Third of which, he is in the audience tonight, Fred Hayes. Fred was a Board of Zoning Appeals member from 2012 to 2017. He also served on the township's Greater Anderson Township Betterment Committee, which is our nonprofit organization, from 2011 to 2017, and was an Economic Development Committee member from 2008 to 2014 when he became a full-time Board of Zoning Appeals member. So, Fred, if you'd like to come forward, I think Mr. Girth has a certificate for you, and thank you for your service to the township.
Thanks. Thank you.
Next we have, and Ann is here, Ann Zimmerman, who Ann was a member also of the Greater Anderson Township Betterment Commission with Fred for quite a number of years, from 2008 until 2016, and was the inaugural member of the Senior Center Advisory Committee, which was formed last year in 2017. So, Ann, thank you so much for your years of service as well. And last and certainly not least, I don't believe Matt is here, but Matt Wehrmeyer. And Matt was a Transportation Advisory Committee member from 2014 to 2017. So we thank Matt for his service as well. And that's all I have on committee recognitions.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Public forum. We've got some new rules, thanks in part to last year. So let me read those. We'll get into that. Individuals who wish to address the board should state their name and address for the record, make their points as clear and concisely as possible, and limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes, which may not be shared or yielded to others. All comments shall be directed to the Board of Township Trustees. If you wish to address the board, please raise your hand, and the presiding officer will welcome you to the podium. Thanks in advance for your comments. But before we do that, Greg, you snuck in late, but we're going to give it to you anyway.
Greg, we read your accomplishments while you were...
Oh, you want to read them again?
I can read them again. I think Greg knows what he did, but I'll remind him just in case. Greg was on our Economic Development Committee from 2008 to 2017. He chaired the committee the last 5 years, from 2013 to 2017, and he again was one of the inaugural members of that committee when it was formed back in July of 2008, for those of us that remember that fateful month.
But kudos to the heavy lifting that you guys do and your staff.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Now, public forum. Anyone that would like to come up, please feel free to do so.
Hi, my name is Kathy Stemmer. I live at 1875 Wolfangle Road. And I only had a quick comment. I watched the last trustee meeting, and I was a little disappointed to see you, Mr. Girth, refer to the time that we had comments as a political stunt. So what I just wanted to say was my comments were not a political stunt. They were spoken from what I felt was a true problem. I feel like we were asking for a social media policy. I feel like I represented Andrew fairly. I talked about how we talked to each other through private messages and reached a resolution, but I felt like over the long term, things really just weren't changing enough. So I don't think I misrepresented either myself or Mr. Pappas. So I still feel like we need to have that social media policy, and want to kind of know where we were at that. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Steve Long, 8643 Manitoba. I would like to address the trustees and express my extreme displeasure regarding a recent decision made by at least two of you. Your decision directly and negatively affects our community, especially senior citizens, and I would like to ask a question and then make a request here. Your public responses to this issue, either now or in the upcoming week, would be most appreciated. As a member of the inaugural Anderson Township Senior Center Advisory Council this past year, I'm pleased to say that we've made substantial progress. As chair for 2018, I was encouraged about next steps for this following year. Much of that enthusiasm is due to what Ann Zimmerman, recognized tonight, a volunteer member of the 2017 Advisory Council, has been providing with leadership, knowledge, and energy. 1 year ago, I did not know who Ann Zimmerman was. What a blessing this past year has been working with her. Ann has been a most faithful member of the council, regular attendee, summarizes all the meetings she attends, willing to facilitate meetings when I'm not there, and most importantly, contributing productive thoughts on various topics. Ann has been the cornerstone of knowledge and preliminary thinking, along with Trustee D. Stone, about transitioning certain of the senior center costs so that they might no longer be borne fully by Anderson Township. As 2017 ended, Ann and Dee were in the midst of beginning efforts to consider how to make a charitable foundation possible. Which leads to my question. What would motivate you to decline Ann Zimmerman's request to be part of the 2018 Senior Center Advisory Council? Please explain this decision to us as residents, especially when Ann has been such a willing public servant here in the township, even winning Anderson Township Citizen of the Year. It seems even more surprising that you would not accept Ann's offer to serve in the context of who you did include in 2018, two people who never attended a 2017 meeting. Astounding. So my request, please make Anderson Township a better place, especially for seniors, by reconsidering your decision and asking Ann Zimmerman if she would accept membership on the 2018 Advisory Council. If you're not willing to do this, please publicly explain to us as residents why you would not want to see the Anderson Advisory Council staffed with such valuable contributors, especially those who make the Senior Center a better place and potentially save Anderson Township substantial money in future years as a result of her efforts. This is signed by 10 members of our council, and I'd like to submit it to whoever the right person is. Would that be you, Vicki?
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Seeing none, we'll close public forum. Move on to trustee comments. Dee, Andrew, either?
Go ahead, Dee.
Thank you for your words, both of you. I think everybody knows how I feel on this issue. So I'm just going to leave it to other people to discuss. I will say we do have, and I don't know if this is going to be an announcement. One thing I did want to mention is we have public forum on the syringe exchange program next week I assume that, were you going to announce that, Vicki?
Yes.
Okay,
I
I'll let
can-
you do that then. I hope people can attend, and I assume we will be talking about the social media policy too at some point, so.
Yes, as I've indicated to the board and a few residents that have asked, due to a federal court decision in late July of last year and just the law, the way it is evolving on this particular topic, it is taking Ms. Comey and I a little bit longer than we would like to get something in format to present to the board. That is on my plate to do. And again, it is just such an evolving area that it's taking us a little bit more time than we would like, but we are continuing to work on that.
Thank you.
My comments, we'll discuss the announcement this week that due to our electric aggregation program that we instituted, I got a note from the supplier that said that currently we have saved our residents approximately $250,000 in fees and rates. And that is something that I think is not chump change. And that was done with some people questioned why we were doing it. They thought it was big government and whatnot else, but the results speak for themselves, and I would like to see if we could perhaps extend that to gas as well, and start saving our residents money using your combined purchasing power to get a better rate. We'll address at some point possibly your comments, but I will say that my personal opinion is when we have the purview to appoint people to committees, and sometimes it wasn't a political decision on my part, but I will say that some comments that I saw made questioned the honesty, veracity, integrity of our staff that work here at the township, and I have a lack of, I don't like our staff to be called dishonest on our behalf. So that being the case, that did affect some of my decision-making. I can't speak for everybody, but my decision-making involving who we appoint to committees when they are then going to be working either near or with staff, and yet they question them publicly. So that's all I'll say about that. I'll be happy to talk to you privately if you'd like, and you can send me an email at any time. That static is what I was talking about. That's it for me.
Okay, thanks. Nothing from me. Fiscal report. As we can see, Ken Dietz is not here. He's under the weather, so are we moving on from this?
Yes, please.
Debbie, you don't want to say anything? Law Director, Margaret, anything?
No formal report, but I'd like to echo Vicki's comments earlier. We've gathered a great deal of information on social media and run down a number of the cases that were cited in the Virginia case, and there's a lot of activity in that area, and we just want to make sure we don't create a document that out of the gate doesn't take into consideration all of these evolving discussions. So we're working on it.
We have the utmost trust in you guys that you are. Thank you. Planning and zoning. Paul, anything? Okay. Lieutenant Guy, Sheriff's Department.
Good evening. You gonna put me on the clock, Suzanne?
Will it matter?
I just have one brief item on the agenda. We've got you should have a resolution in front of you requesting to authorize the sale of surplus police vehicle. It's a 2007 Crown Victoria that obviously we've owned for 10 years. We're selling it fully equipped to the Lorain County Sheriff's Department for a price of $3,000. It's got about 114,000 miles on it. It's outlasted its usefulness for our use, and the equipment on it is not compatible with the new vehicles that we're getting. That's why we're selling it as is and fully equipped. It's beneficial for them because they don't have to change the painting or the marking since they are a sheriff's office and all of our cars are outfitted and marked uniformly. But we're authorizing the purchase of that, and we have already replaced that vehicle with a 2017 Ford Explorer that's already on the road and being used right now.
I move to authorize the sale of surplus equipment to Lorain County, Ohio pursuant to a contract authorized by Section 505.101 of the revised code.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Unless the board has anything else, that's all I have.
Thanks, Matt. Richard Shelley, the busiest man in the township over the last 2 weeks.
Good evening.
I'm sorry, that's probably a thing. I know you've been busy, too.
I just have one item before the board tonight, and this came in as a request from the HOA group in the Cold Brook Stream Ridge subdivision. The request is for a stop sign. It is a T intersection, does not and would not meet the warrants for an intersection stop sign, but as the board is aware, you have the right to still vote on a stop sign and make it a legal stop sign. And so we're asking the board, the complaint came in because apparently both sides of the T intersection were cutting the corner and taking too much out of the middle, so to speak. So if we stop one side, the one leg, we can probably fix that problem for all. So you have a motion before you to allow me to install a new stop sign at the intersection of Cold Brook and Stream Ridge on Cold Brook.
I move to authorize the installation of one stop sign on Cold Brook Lane at the intersection of Stream Ridge Lane in accordance with the requirements set forth in the Ohio Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Rick, Fire and Rescue.
Good evening. The only thing the fire department has tonight is a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus equipment. It's identified in the resolution. It's equipment that's basically either obsolete or outlived its useful life.
I move to authorize a resolution for the sale of surplus equipment to Licking Township, County of Licking, Ohio pursuant to a contract authorized by Section 505.101 of the revised code.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all we have. Unless you have any questions for the fire department. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rick. Vicki, you're up.
Mr. Severs has the first item.
Thank you, Ms. Earhart. I do. The first item on the agenda there under administration relates to the Anderson Farmers Market. This is something that we've been working with the market vendors on and a lot of individuals for the past year and a half, nearly, since the market closed actually after the 16 season. We created a mechanism to get us through the 17 season, but we feel this is the direction of the future. The market has formed as their own legal entity, and so there is a resolution before you for consideration that will allow the township administrator to enter into agreement with the market as a collective unit to basically lease the Anderson Center Station property for the 2018 season, which would begin the second week of May on weekend of Mother's Day and conclude the end of October. So we're still finalizing that to get back to the Market Association, but I think we're pretty much in agreement with the basic principles and look forward to finalizing that so they can plan accordingly for the year ahead as well. So if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Good work.
I move to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing a rental facility agreement with Anderson Township Farmers Market.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
The next item administration has is the announcement about the proposed bloodborne infectious disease prevention program. The Hamilton County Health Commissioner Tim Ingram approached the board in May of 2017 about this particular program and asked if the board would consider hosting a mobile van that would be in the township 4 hours per week that would provide treatment options for individuals that are suffering with substance abuse disorder, provide them with clean syringes, provide them with testing for hepatitis, HIV, and other bloodborne illnesses. This board asked that I schedule a series of hearings, or not hearings per se, but public discussion opportunities for the opportunity for every resident in this township to come in and provide commentary, to listen to the proposal to begin with. Hamilton County Commissioner Tim Ingram, Dr. Steve Fagans, who is also with Hamilton County Public Health and also with Mercy Health Anderson, will be presenting. And there are 3 opportunities for you to listen and to give comment. The first is on Wednesday, January the 24th at 3 p.m. at the Anderson Senior Center. That same day, January 24th at 6:30, we will be meeting in the community meeting room on the other side of this wall. And then the following week, on January 30th at 6:30, it will be in the Anderson Center Theater. The board does want to receive your input. This is a very difficult discussion for this community to have. It is a very difficult decision for this board to make, but we want to make sure that every resident has a voice. So we encourage you to attend these meetings, and if anyone has any questions prior to the meetings, you're welcome to contact me at 688-8400. The next item that we have is a request to renew the board's membership in the Center for Local Government. The Center for Local Government is one of the earliest examples of collaboration between governments. It was formed in 1990, and there are 10 counties in this area that are eligible to be members. Currently, there are 54 member jurisdictions. There are 15 villages, 24 cities, 13 townships, 1 joint fire district, and Hamilton County itself. The Center for Local Government provides services. They provide a forum where jurisdictions can do what are called spot surveys, where we have a question on sign placement or some regulatory issue. We can set that spot survey out to the other members, get their input on what they've done, what they've been successful with, where they've had issues. There's also an opportunity for staff to attend what is called a leadership academy. The best career that I can think of is local government. I can tell you that I don't think there are a lot of people, a lot of high school students or juniors that think of local government as a career choice. And a lot of people are getting older and retiring, and we're trying to attract new young talent to this field. One of the things the Leadership Academy does is it looks at lower level staff members. Everyone has an opportunity to attend this Leadership Academy and learn about what it means to move up in the ranks, to become a department head, to become an assistant administrator, a township administrator, city manager. So that is a service that the Center for Local Government provides. They also have a Public Works Mutual Aid Pact, which essentially lists all of the equipment. Mr. Shelley provides them a list with all of the equipment that we have. Every other member jurisdiction does the same thing. If we are in, God forbid, a natural emergency, some type of disaster, years ago when Blue Ash was hit with a tornado, Blue Ash was a member, and they had the ability to call upon other jurisdictions to share equipment, to borrow equipment. So that is a benefit for the township. This year, the Center for Local Government is also providing newly elected officials training. They are working in conjunction with Hamilton County Regional Planning Partnership. They'll be doing a session out at the Sharonville Convention Center to help educate newly elected officials, and fortunately, Mr. Girth will be representing the township form of government and sharing his expertise and his knowledge with newly elected officials. There are many, many other things that the Center for Local Government does, and in full disclosure, I am the current vice president of the Center for Local Government, to make sure the board is aware of that. But I am recommending that Anderson Township consider renewing its membership for 2018 in this organization.
Thank you. I move to authorize renewal of the township's membership in the Center for Local Government for 2018 at the annual rate of $3,825.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
We do not have any items arising from exec session this evening. That's the conclusion of our agenda.
Great, thank you. Next meeting would be February 15th, 6 o'clock, this room. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can call 688-8400 or email, call any one of us here on the board. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.